still standing. Thank you for being here tonight. We have an awesome event planned, and I am probably the least interesting of the people that you're going to hear from tonight, but it's my pleasure to kick things off. My name is Star Marcello. I'm the Executive Director and Deputy Head of the Polsky Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, and I'm also an Adjunct Associate Professor of Entrepreneurship here at Booth, and I have the pleasure of teaching the class which is not titled the College New Venture Challenge, but accompanies the College New Venture Challenge. So here's what's going to happen tonight. Welcome. We've already done that part. Hopefully you got food. If not, there's still some pizza over there if you want to come back and get seconds. I'm going to tell you some stuff about the College New Venture Challenge and entrepreneurship here at the University of Chicago. And I'm going to go through it as painlessly and quickly as possible because there's good stuff following me, which I would maybe take a guess is why so many of you are here tonight for our special guests who are seated up at the front of the room, who I will introduce a little bit later on. But if I don't give you the key information about entrepreneurship and the CNBC first, I know you will not stay to hear it after, but I do hope some of you are here to pitch your ideas and to get idea generation started in terms of new things that you might want to do, new businesses you might want to build, new social impact ventures you might want to get off the ground, because there are some incentives to get you to pitch and to stay, and it's not just the pizza. There are some prizes and some other interesting things that you will hear about if you are up here pitching at the end. Sound good? All right. Here's the key information, and I'm going to show you a bunch of slides, which if you are in my class in the winter quarter, I'm going to tell you never to make slides that look like this. They are boring. They are filled with text. I'm sorry, I'm not the best at design, but there's just some critical information which I will share with you afterwards if you want a copy of these slides that will tell you about how to participate in my class in the winter quarter and how to compete in the New Venture Challenge. What is the NVC? Partly it's a class, partly it's a business plan competition, a startup launch platform, and I really would emphasize that businesses launch from this class and this program, real businesses that go on to do amazing things in the world. And finally, and maybe the thing that is closest to my own heart, and what I truly believe about what we are trying to do here, is the last thing, have a cohort of innovators working together to solve really cool and compelling problems in the world. And that is one of the key things that I try to accomplish here, more than anything else. Here's me. You get to see me in person, not only on the screen. A little bit of my background. I have a couple of degrees from this place, including this building here, Booth, where I did my MBA. I've already told you a little bit of who I am. Just a little bit of my background. I've been here for 15 years building the entrepreneurship program and working with a lot of the companies that you probably recognize, and I'll show you a slide later on for some of them. The College New Venture Challenge relies on a lot of really key people to help build new businesses. If you have ever, has anyone in here, and actually some of you better raise your hands, those of you who I know, have you tried to launch a new company? Yeah. So you know that it does not happen all by itself. It is super difficult. You need a lot of support from a lot of people. And the way that the College New Venture Challenge is designed is to give you exposure to as many people as possible who can help you. Coaches, investors, mentors, experts, other entrepreneurs who can help you. There are a ton of people who come into a room just like this and spend their time one-on-one with you. And the one I want to highlight first are dedicated coaches who we have hired to work with you extensively in this class and through the CNBC to help you with your new ventures. And so Scott, I think, is here somewhere, possibly just outside. When he comes back, I will point him out. Scott, Christina, and Chuck are the three coaches who will be working with you very extensively this year in the winter quarter. If you are in the class, they are awesome, super knowledgeable. I will just point out that their areas of expertise differ, and that's done on purpose. Christina is a colleague of mine who runs the Social Impact Center here at Chicago Booth. She's also a college grad and a Booth grad. For any of you who are working on social impact ventures, she will be a key resource for you. Chuck is a serial entrepreneur in technology and AI, big data. He's amazing. We are super lucky he moved back to Chicago this year to spend time with us, and he is really eager and excited to be joining the CNBC as one of the coaches this year. Scott, some of you may know, he is the program director for UChicago Careers in Entrepreneurship, and he is a big resource to any of you who are thinking about careers in this sector. And Lucas, also not in the room, oh, here they are, perfectly timed for when your pictures are on the screen. Lucas, I think some of you know, he's amazing. He's the class TA and the program director for the CNBC. He is the person you will hear from more than anyone else, more than even myself, and so he is a great person to get to know. I'm going to actually turn it over to Scott really briefly if you want to give a few words about UChicago Careers and Entrepreneurship to make sure that all of you know what resources you have.
Thanks. Thanks, Sarah. So most of you got a flyer that I forced on you at the door. So just a couple things to keep in mind. CNBC is obviously a great opportunity. We've got the workshops that go on the rest of this fall. We also have, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, we've got a lot more events in the fall and the winter, in particular with Polsky in the spring, as well as different groups I just want you to be aware of. So if you actually just flip to the second page, one thing I want to emphasize, if you're going through CNBC this fall and you're forming any sort of a team, and one of the things that may be helpful is a little bit of funding, maybe a domain or website or some other sort of registration. You want to talk to the student group LTF, Learning to Fly Ventures. There's specifically a VC set up to fund students at UChicago that haven't entered our entrepreneurship community. So make sure to take advantage of that. This coming Friday, we've got a trek to a couple local startups, Spico and Print With Me. These are both really good founders to learn about their stories. I think one or both have been involved with Polsky, the exchange. They also hire UChicago students as interns. Not judging wink, that's one of the reasons that they want to meet you next Friday. And then the following Friday, we have a CNBC alum. Where's Martin? Martin, will you raise your hand? Martin is going to be hosting a handful of students up at one of his client locations. So an opportunity to learn about his business, but also actually test some of the things he's currently working on and help him continue his success growing that business. Lastly, on the back page, I know the RSO fair is tomorrow on the quad, I think from 3 to 5. There's 3 that I've put on here. ENT, which is a fraternity for entrepreneurship. It's completely open, you just have to pay for the membership. There's 2 others that do a selective membership, ILC Entrepreneurship, which has programs running through fall and winter, and Midway Ventures, and then RBH, where are you? Right there. Guys, maybe just a quick plug for what you're starting up.
Yeah, so we're just a quick general meeting entrepreneurship organization where we get a lot of broad exposure to business and you're not quite sure what exactly you want to do in entrepreneurship, and get part-time internships with people like Mark Reliance and Mark. So
yeah,
very helpful.
Yeah. So you can. So you don't have to see them tomorrow. You can see these 2 guys tonight. Learn more about that. And just beyond that, on the front page, you'll hear more about this in the middle of winter. Our 2 largest programs with Polsky outside of CNBC, we have a major, basically consulting track, where students are put on consulting teams, coached by some of our advisors or former consultants, and they're helping NBC applicants with some aspect of their business over an 8-week engagement. And the other is the, what are we calling it, the project management program. So we had about 30 students last year actually participate as volunteer interns on NBC teams. So that's the booth program that runs in the spring. And had major success with that. I think 4 of the top 7 teams at NBC had our interns on it, including 3 interns on the winning team. So I'll be emailing lots of stuff about that throughout the quarters, but we have a lot that you can do and engage with, starting with and beyond CNBC, so make sure you're aware of that. So with that, turn back to Sarah.
Thank you. All right. Moving on, I mentioned that there's lots of people who get involved. You are really fortunate if you're in the college NBC or any of the NBC tracks. You are probably aware, if you've looked at any of the details, that there is an incentive for you to go through this program, and that is a pool of investment capital at the end. This year we have $50,000 for the winners of the college NBC. That gets distributed at the end of class. I'll go through that in a minute. The people behind me are the reason that we have some of that funding to be able to give to you to help get your venture off the ground. Judges help us determine who gets what at the end. They are super impressive VCs and entrepreneurs who have affiliations with the University of Chicago largely. Some of their names are on the screen behind me. It's really a mix of people. Not everyone is from the Chicago area. A lot of people actually fly in from the West Coast and the East Coast to see the top presentations at the end. And there are, I will say, a few embedded folks here who have been through the class before, and they can maybe comment if you have questions about what this is like exactly. I want to just touch a little bit on the NBC. So the CNBC is one of the tracks of the NBC, which is a bigger program and has many different audiences and many different components. It was ranked the #1 university accelerator in the country by the Seed Accelerator Rankings Project. It is evaluated every year and in the same category as accelerators you may have heard of that are not university affiliated, like Y Combinator and Techstars and AngelPad. We are in good company. It is a serious startup generator, and we treat it that way. So I always tell the students who are in the class that, of course, I want you to learn, and you're here to get an education. But my assumption when you go through the class is that you are serious about wanting to start a new venture, and that's the way I'm going to treat you and your idea. And so we will really dissect, is it viable, why or why not, and what resources can I give you to help make you successful. You see some of the other tracks listed up here. The top one, the Edward L. Kaplan New Venture Challenge, is our longest running track. Next year will mark the 25th year that that track has been around. So it has been around longer than probably every one of you. It is a long running program and has produced a ton of companies. Here's some of the timeline. You can see the CNBC is a little bit younger than the NBC, and it was not the last track. Last year we created the Alumni NBC. And I'm going to just move on sort of quickly because some of this you can read later if you want to see the slides. Lots of awards are given out as part of this. Lots of prizes, business services, things that you will need. This is the slide that we call our sizzle stats. What have we accomplished to date? These might look like just numbers to you at the top. I promise you, if I show this slide in an audience of investors, they are shocked that a school has produced some of these kinds of returns and value for investors and how many companies are still running. I hope you recognize some of the logos on the screen behind me. Can you please raise your hand if you recognize any of the logos on the screen behind me? Okay, I'd just like to do a sanity check every now and then to make sure that you do in fact know some of these companies. Of course, probably the most famous ones to come from here are the top two that you see there, Grubhub and Braintree. Braintree, you often will tell me you don't know, but Braintree very early on acquired a company called Venmo, which I assume you all do know. So sometimes we will refer to that as Braintree Venmo, and so you are in good company. These are real companies that are getting started. Every year this list gets bigger. Want to comment a little bit on people who have gone through the college NBC and won and are moving on to launch their ventures. As I said, this is a serious venture creation program. The one at the top you see, Podu, won the top prize at the CNBC last year. They are an Egyptian podcast app. You can see some of the stats. They are now launching this full time. They've got 12,000 users and 100,000 downloads in less than 2 weeks. They're really very serious about getting this off the ground. Quavos, you might know that company, which won the year prior. You will get to experience their product firsthand tonight if you pitch. If you don't, you won't. So I hope that that inspires you to pitch. They are a food company here in Chicago. They raised about $1 million and are off to the races. QB, I hope you also know, they are an under-the-desk elliptical and health and wellness company based here in Chicago. And I'll leave it at that. They're doing extremely well. Here's the really tough stuff to get through, so I'm going to go through very, very quickly. There's a bunch of dates on here that I need you to recognize and be aware of if you're going to participate in this program. The most important of which is on the screen right now, March 11th, 2019, which is the date of the finals, the final event where we have pitches, the VCs come in and evaluate you, and we award out the $50,000. You cannot be in the class or the program if you cannot be available for this day. Presumably, we hope you will make it to the end, and you will have this great pleasure of being able to pitch to some pretty exciting people. The class is in the winter quarter. To get into the class, you have to submit what's called a feasibility summary. You don't bid on this class. Actually, I don't know if bidding even occurs at the college. It does here at Booth, but you don't apply through other channels. You apply through us to get into the class, and then we register you for the class. To apply, you have to tell us what your business idea is. Sometimes people don't want to tell me what their idea is because they're worried that I will then tell someone else and it will get stolen. You must tell me your idea if you want to get into the class. I promise you in 15 years of doing this, no one has ever stolen someone else's idea. So just be aware of that. If you go through this, what you see on the screen behind me is that we hope the CNBC will improve your idea considerably. Prove to you, you will go through this and learn yourself if it is viable. You will get great feedback from real people. I will guarantee you it will increase the likelihood that you will get funded. If your goal is to get angel investors, other investors, VCs interested, it will help you with that considerably. And we do provide some seed funding to the winners at the end. You have to be a student to be eligible to get into this class. The student must be key to the team. So I will stop for a minute to say this happens more in the NVC, the graduate level version of this, than the CNBC, but you can have a team that has non-University of Chicago people on it, as long as one person on the team is a University of Chicago student in the college. So if you are thinking, I really want to start a venture, but my co-founder is a friend of mine who I know from outside or from high school, and they're going to another college somewhere, that's perfectly fine as long as they're working with you and you are serious about being on the team. I will skip some of the rest of this because it's really maybe in the weeds at this point, and if you are thinking you see something up here that concerns you, like can I be a team of 1 and still do this? Can I be a team of 10 and still do this? Please come make an appointment with myself or with Lucas and we can tell you like yes, no, here's how you are successful or not. I think I should probably mention that not everyone who applies to get into this class gets in. It has about a 50% rate of getting in. So that means half of the people will be declined from entering the class. And that is because we put considerable resources, people, mentors, financing into the teams that get into the class, and we can't unfortunately make that available to everyone. So if you apply and you want to get in, please do a good job on your application. And if you don't know the answers to some of these questions, please contact us and we will help you. First years can't take it for credit, but you could be on a team with second years. So we can talk more about that if you're a first year. Eligibility should be an original business idea. You shouldn't have already raised $1 million from VCs. If you're in that category, congratulations. That's awesome that you have $1 million in funding. It's very unlikely, but sometimes it does happen. We can talk about why you're not eligible for this. If you're on the scene, going through lots of competitions, let us know. We can talk about that. NDAs, I told you before, we don't ever see ideas stolen in here, and frankly, you will learn in the class that entrepreneurship is all about execution on an idea, not the idea itself. And so we don't have people sign NDAs. We won't sign an NDA if you ask us to. If you don't know what an NDA is, don't worry about it for now because we're not going to sign it. You can look it up on your own time. Your intellectual property is your responsibility. Again, if you're not sure what kind of IP is appropriate for the idea or technology you're working on, come talk to us. We will talk to you about that. Okay, CNBC, the cash prize is $50,000. We will talk about this more extensively in terms of what it means to get the $50,000. The $50,000 is not allocated in advance a certain way. So I can't tell you first place gets $50,000, nobody else gets anything, first place gets $30,000, second place gets $20,000. It is different every year, and that is because we decide in real time at the finals with the judges how we want to allocate the prize pool. In the NVC, you will see everyone who makes it to the finals gets some amount of money. In the Social New Venture Challenge, they never do it that way. We don't set a rule around it, so if you make it to the finals, you might very well get some amount of funding. These again are just the three phases. Again, this is a class. I will tell you the class is taught here at Booth, and it is the only college class that is taught here in this building. And the reason for that is because we have so many guests who come into the class who are investors and people we want you to meet and build your network with who are key to the experience of being in this program. Okay, feasibility summary, that's how you get in. You have to answer questions like this. We will have a workshop where we tell you exactly how to do this. How do you answer things like what is the market size? We will help you with that. We don't expect you to know the answers to all of these things right away, but you have to tell us some things about your business idea so that we can react to it and know, what are the risks here? What are the possibilities? Who do we know who can mentor you? Those kinds of things. Don't be long-winded. We actually set a page limit on this just because we can't read 100 pages for all the submissions. We will also be asking you to produce a very, 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 very short video so that we can see who are the founders who are submitting this application. You can do it on your iPhone. It does not have to have high production value. Just do whatever is simple for you. And we will be having a workshop on this on October 22nd. So if you want to know and really work through some of these issues, I can tell you more about what it looks like. There are some other events that will come down the pipeline. There's a workshop that I'm doing on a topic called customer discovery, which is happening soon on October 15th. That is basically so that you can answer one of the riskiest questions for any venture, which is who wants this and why? Who is your customer? Why do you believe that to be true? Other resources, people you can meet with, our EIRs, our coaches, the Polsky Center, Lucas, myself, we're all available to talk to you about your idea and whether it's a good one for this program. You can look at the website, a ton of information on there, and with that, phew, I made it.